What's going on, everyone? I'm Steve from Burke Family 54 Comics, and in today's video, I'm really excited to talk about my favorite Batman comic book stories of all time. Before we do that, though, make sure you guys like, subscribe, and tell your friends, and consider joining the channel as well for just $1.99. You can be entered to win all of these amazing comic books from the 616comics.com as long as you enter by November 30th here in 2024. So recently, Absolute Batman issues number 1 and 2 came out, and it was absolutely amazing. And of course, the Penguin series just finished up on Max, and Batman's really hot right now. He really is. And I decided to make a video about my favorite Batman comic book stories of all time. So without further ado, let's get right into this list. Coming in at number 5, we have Batman Hush by Jeff Loeb and Jim Lee. Some might be upset I don't have The Long Halloween or Death in a Family as number 5, but I feel like for me, this story is just better. And what sets it apart from the others is, of course, the amazing art by Jim Lee. Every cover in this story that takes place in Batman 608 through 619 is iconic. But to me, what takes the cake is, of course, Batman 612. That cover is amazing. The story is about Bruce Wayne and his childhood friend, Thomas Elliot, and how much of their history and friendship is intertwined. Batman battles nearly every villain, including Poison Ivy, Clayface, and even Superman. It also dives into Batman's past with the death of Jason Todd. This is a great story that I would consider a good starting point for anyone looking to get into Batman comics. Coming in at number 4, we have Batman The Dark Knight Returns by Frank Miller and Klaus Johnson. This is often looked at as the best Batman story ever, but to me, it's not even Miller's best work on Batman. This 4-issue story takes place in a dystopian future with an aging Batman and how Gotham and the world has changed so much and how much of it has enraged Bruce. He ends up fighting the entire mutant gang as well as Superman, which the Batman vs. Superman movie takes much of its inspiration from. It's a fun story and shows just how much of an impact Batman can make, not just on the city, but the entire DC universe. Coming in at number 3 is one of my favorite, most recent Batman stories. We have Batman The Court of Owls by Scott Snyder, Jonathan Glapion, and of course, Greg Capullo. The New 52 is not well revered, but Snyder's 52-issue run on Batman starts off with The Court of Owls. Some might say it's too long, but to me, it is just right. The story is basically about how the upper class has been having secret meetings called the Court of Owls, where they select different fighters from throughout history to be their talent, and how Bruce's childhood friend is tied to the whole story. It's a fun story that involves the entire Batman family, and what really sets it apart for me is, of course, the art by Greg Capullo. You cannot tell this story without his art. It's fantastic. I love Snyder's Black Mirror, but to me, this is by far his best work. Coming in at number 2, we have Batman The Killing Joke by Alan Moore and Brian Ballard. This story is more about Joker than anything else, as it gives you the Joker's origin and about how he had a family he was trying to provide for before turning to crime in the Red Hood gang, and how eventually he becomes the Joker. It also dives into Jim Gordon and his family as the Joker famously shoots and cripples his daughter. Batman does go to war against the Joker, but on the Joker's terms, and it really has an interesting ending. This is probably the best single issue of Batman of all time. And then coming in at number 1 is, of course, Batman Year One by Frank Miller and David Mazzucchelli. This is by far the best Batman story of all time, as it takes you through issues 404 through 407. Doing a retelling of Batman's origins but adding new details. It also adds Jim Gordon heavily into the story. At first when I read it, I'm not going to lie, I had a hard time getting through the first couple pages with all that cursive lettering, but once you get more into the story, you're hooked. It takes you through Batman's first few times out fighting crime and adds central characters such as Catwoman, Harvey Dent, and the entire crime mafia families of Gotham. If I could pick only one Batman story to read the rest of my life, it would be, of course, Batman Year One. All right, guys, so that's today's video. Again, I'm Steve from Burke Family 54 Comics. Let me know in the comment section what you guys think about today's video. Which Batman story is your favorite? Have you read any of these? All of that and more. All right, guys, thanks for watching. And as always, go Cats!
Cowabunga! It's morphin' time!